This is Greg Locke. If you're unfamiliar, he's a hate preacher, a megachurch pastor, a televangelist type of person. He is unglued from reality. Some of the things that he says is crazy. If you're wondering what happened at this moment in history, Israel and Palestine are really at each other's throats right now. We don't know what's happening or where this is going to go, but I get the distinct feeling it's about to get real ugly. Anyways, Greg Locke believes that this is like a special moment, and this is like the fulfillment of prophecy, stuff like that. So we'll see what happens. I'm kind of horrified by this situation, but Greg is probably going to explain his biblical basis for the belief that Israel must exist for the end to come, basically. And while we do, we're going to play this game here. If you've never seen it, it should just be in the background. Won't bother you too much. By the way, this is not part one. If you haven't seen the other, I'll provide context if it's necessary. You don't have to see it to understand what's happening here.
Seems like Egypt's got more sense than America does.
Why? Because we haven't shut our borders to, oh my God, dude. Give me a break. Because we haven't shut our borders to the Palestinians? Is that what you're saying? Is that why Egypt has more sense than America?
I ain't starting to preach yet, but I'm about to talk for a minute, okay? If you think all this open border stuff is not an opportunity...
I knew it, dude. He's going to the open border BS. Oh, come on.
...for a bunch of Hamas sleeper cells to come into this nation right now and start killing innocent men, women, and children.
Dude, what? He's saying Hamas is coming through the U.S. border right now? This is insane.
You have lost your mind. I'm sick of all these Christians saying we ought to have peace with Islam. Islam is a satanic death cult, and they would cut your head off before I said amen.
Absolutely agreed, except the satanic part. But we should have peace with them, right? Shouldn't we be able to, like, coexist together? Can we not have peace? Is that against your rules, Greg? Yes, I agree. Islam is horrific, some of the shit they believe. Oh, my God. But are you really going to, like, tell us not to ever have peace with them? Greg is insane.
Innocent men, women, and children, you have lost your mind. I'm sick of all these Christians saying we ought to have peace with Islam. Islam is a satanic death cult, and they would cut your head off before I said amen in this sermon if they had a chance to. Stop all this nonsense. There's nothing peaceful about Islam.
Well, I mean, there are Muslim countries. I find this so fascinating. Like, Trump seems to really like the Muslims in Saudi Arabia, but that's neither here nor there. There are countries out there that are Muslim predominantly that we can have peace with. We're not at war with Indonesia. We've never had any kind of major conflict with Indonesia, have we? I mean, not in recent years at the very least. But, okay.
The Muslim religion hates Jewish people to the core of who they are.
Sure, okay, yep. The Muslim religion does not like Jewish people. You know why that is, actually, interestingly enough? It's because it's a complicated explanation, but the KGB... the Russian secret police, before the KGB even, the USSR had the KGB, and before it was the USSR, when it was still just Tsarist Russia, they had the Okhrana secret police. They were passing around anti-Jewish propaganda in the Middle East, all the way through Iran and all over the place. That's why a lot of Iranian people, or a lot of the government... Ayatollah Khomeini and others have expressed Holocaust-denying views because, as a people, they were propagandized to nonstop for, like, for like a century at least, for like ever.
And then Joe Biden sends Iran $6 billion.
It's Iran. Joe Biden didn't send Iran $6 billion anythings. He said, Joe Biden said, if they freed hostages, U.S. people, I believe, then the U.S. would allow transactions to come from South Korea to Iran because South Korea holds a bunch of Iranian money because the sanctions exist and the money was out of the country when the sanctions were placed, I believe. So he said, I will allow you to do a bank transaction, and that money is only allowed to go to humanitarian aid. That's what happened, actually. So Joe Biden didn't give them $6 billion anything. He gave them the opportunity to get their $6 billion back if it was used as aid, as humanitarian aid. But, I mean, you're seeing how this is, like, twisted into a pretzel here, right?
Dollars.
Step back.
About Islam. The Muslim religion hates Jewish people to the core of who they are. And then Joe Biden sends Iran $6 billion. Guess who's funding Hamas?
Well, Iran does fund Hamas. That's true. But all of that money went to humanitarian aid, first of all. And second, according to Israel and the United States, this attack was not funded by Iran, according to both countries' intelligence communities.
Iran, ultimately.
Iran.
Obama.
Oh, my God, dude. Ultimately, Obama. This is just insane. Okay, I got to write this one down, too. 102.12. This is crazy, dude. This is a crazy episode. Thanks, Obama. Obama is funding Hamas. God, does it get crazier than this? He's twisted himself into a ridiculous pretzel.
And so now they're taking our money and killing God's people with it.
No, it's not our money. It was their money. And it was used for humanitarian aid. It couldn't be used for anything else.
And pastors all over America be like, well, I don't want to talk about the war in Israel because, that's just a little bit too political.
Who said that?
I hope you lose your job before nightfall. We've never seen anything like this.
Yeah, we have. I mean, Israel has been war-torn since its inception, honestly. It's been a really rough area. Now, this specific level of attack, I mean, I think there have been more Israeli deaths in the past since it started. There have been more Israeli deaths in this one single event than there has been since the Holocaust, so that's pretty ugly. That's disgusting and evil and horrific, honestly. But, yeah, okay, I guess I'll just leave it at that. My mind is shot. I'm sorry, guys.
Ever. Israel's never seen anything like this.
No, this is the worst attack that Jews have ever seen in their lives. Nothing worse has ever happened to them before, ever. Go on.
These people are bloodthirsty mongrels.
Do you know how genocides start? This is not related to what's happening in Israel right now. This is independent of Israel. I'm just saying, do you know how genocides start? Look at the Rwandan genocide. Do you know how that started? With the Hutus calling the Tutsi tribe cockroaches. That's how it started. They were referred to their political enemies as cockroaches. Genocides always start with the other side being dehumanized, with dehumanizing language. Like what Greg is saying here. Mongrels. Somebody on the Israeli side somebody really high up in government, referred to them as human animals. That's horrific, dude. What is happening right now? I mean, Jews in World War II were also dehumanized in a similar way. This is how genocides start, not for nothing.
I mean, they're like walking in four-way stops, pulling people out of their cars, cutting their throats, and letting the car just keep rolling through the intersection.
Okay, I haven't seen that specific thing, but yeah, Hamas is doing some real evil shit. Deeply horrific, disgusting shit. Yes, agreed.
How many girls do we have in this room that are 15 to 25? Stick your hand up high in the air right now. If you're 15 to 25, hold your hand up very, very high right now, all over the room. 15 to 25. Look at them. You can put your hands down. They would and brutally murder every single one of them.
Yes, that's true. Hamas would do that. That is accurate. And Hamas has been doing that. Disturbing, evil, disgusting shit. Absolutely.
And they're doing it on video footage.
That's true.
And somehow I'm the bad guy for talking about it on Sunday morning.
No, you're not the bad guy for talking about it like this. This is evil, disgusting shit. Hamas is evil. Absolutely agreed, Greg. You know why you're the bad guy? Because you're calling for genocide right now of innocent Palestinians. Didn't do shit to anybody. That's why you're the bad guy. I know how he's justifying this. He's justifying it by saying they're evil, so we can do evil shit to them. Whatever we want. There's no limit. I understand that's how it's being justified, but I don't understand how he got there in his head. That's insane.
Raping them. Little bitty kids, tiny children, in cages.
Okay. Oh, that children in cages thing? That was fake. I don't know if you guys knew that. That was not from this event. There's a picture of children in cages. Didn't happen. Well, it's not from... The pictures aren't from now. I'll put it that way. Maybe it is happening now. I don't know. I wouldn't put it past Hamas. I have no clue. But there's so much propaganda floating around right now. And as I'm sure everybody knows, Greg Locke is the biggest sucker alive for propaganda. He will believe anything if it's given to him by somebody on his side or somebody that he views to be on his side. I think this is a cool level, but I suck at it, so I'm skipping. Hunted Shadow's Legacy aptly points out, suddenly Greg cares about kids in cages. He didn't care about kids being separated from their parents and put in cages before. That's weird, right? Like when it was happening on the U.S. border under Donald Trump.
And they're doing it on video footage. And somehow I'm the bad guy for talking about it on Sunday morning. Raping them.
Dude, yes, you've said that like 16 times. Thank you. You can stop saying that if you want. I would appreciate that very much. I'm going to have so much editing to do. It's ridiculous.
Little bitty kids, tiny children, in cages. Like animals.
Like animals. I mean, that didn't happen in this situation to my knowledge. But yeah, Hamas is evil. Okay. As if kids aren't dying on both sides. I mean, that's how he's framing it. Like they aren't dying on both sides. I'm sitting here calling out both sides. That's disgusting shit, man. Don't do that. You know, 40%, I think, of kids in the Gaza Strip have PTSD. It's a war-torn apartheid state. And Greg Locke is in favor of it. He said level the Gaza Strip. 2 million people. That's psychotic.
In cages. This very second. And we're like, well, you know, it's just a little bit too uncomfortable to talk about. It's too uncomfortable not to talk about. This is...
Okay, did anybody say it's too uncomfortable to talk about? Is there anybody out, any pastor that said that? Who is he mocking right now or mimicking or whatever?
Demonic. So thank God for the Iron Dome shooting those thousands of rockets out. I mean, these people swooping down like like paratroopers.
Well, yes, they were electric paragliding troopers were swooping down, yeah. Iron Dome is, if you don't know, just for people who are not engaged in this conversation, it's a system that basically shoots down ballistic missiles as they come in because Hamas has a tendency to shoot missiles at Israel. Iron Dome shoots missiles at those missiles to take them down before they come in, basically. And so the U.S. provided Iron Dome to Israel like forever ago. They've had it for a long, long time.
Shocking people, just shooting people, killing people, looting.
Yes, that's true. Oh my God, I suck. That another fun level, but I can't. Yeah, it's evil what's happening over there.
They have kidnapped hundreds of people. They have brutally murdered hundreds, if not thousands of people. Thousands of people are missing. In God's capital. In God's capital. All that land belongs to Israel, every bit of it.
A religious justification for this war. This is insane.
So there's no such thing as these beat down, oppressed Palestinians. All the videos of them holding up weapons, guess who gave them to them?
I'm not sure which weapons they were. I'm guessing probably Russia or maybe Saudi Arabia, like, purchased weapons from the U.S. or somebody else, because the U.S. has really, really good relations with Saudi Arabia, all things considered, especially under Trump. But if we could see what the weapons are they Kalashnikovs? That's the traditional Russian rifle that's been used for a long, long time. Or are they AR-15s or M16s? M16 is like an AR-15 that's fully automatic, basically. Nearly no difference. He says we gave them the weapons. Is that even true? I don't believe. So he's saying that the United States gave Palestine the weapons that they're using? I don't think that's true. That doesn't sound true to me. Hold on. Let me find out. No, it came from Iran. I'm not sure where Iran gets their weapons. I'm just trying to figure out where Iran... I mean, during the Iran-Iraq war, they were working with us. So Iran got weapons from us, from Western allies. Iran has manufactured its own tanks, armored personnel carriers, missiles, radars, boats, submarines, unmanned aerial vehicles, and fighter planes. I didn't know that. That was since 1993. So apparently Iran manufactures their own... It's hard to know where Iran got a lot of their weapons. Maybe they produce them themselves. What weapons does Hamas use? Let me find out. What kind of gun do they use? Because that would probably tell us. Oh, it looks like Palestine has a weapon production system too. I think that some of the funding is coming from clandestine spots, clandestine supporters, but it's going into the manufacture of their own weapons in Iran and Palestine. Yeah. Yep. Looks like that's what's happening right now. So the U.S. did not produce those weapons.
In God's capital.
I thought this was God's capital.
In God's capital. All that land belongs to Israel, every bit of it. So there's no such thing as these beat down, oppressed Palestinians. All the videos of them holding up weapons, guess who gave them to them? We did. No. Apparently, that's not the case. I mean, I wasn't sure. I thought maybe, like, they got their hands on U.S. weapons, but no, they didn't. They're not using our weapons at all. Well, not us. But this buck-wild, demonized government administration that we got gave them to them. It's sad. Now, listen, here's what I think. I told my wife this last night. This would be the most controversial thing I say, but I'll be all right. I'll preach in a minute.
I find it fascinating that Greg draws a distinction between us, as in us, like the U.S. government, and us, as in Greg Locke. He's like, well, I'm not supplying these people with blah, blah, blah. But that level of nuance did not come up with Palestine. He didn't process that. He didn't care about that. He just thinks Palestine evil, they're all terrorists, that's all there is to it. But there's nuance with U.S. citizens. Oh, well, we don't all support what the government does or what this group of people does or whatever. There is no nuance when it comes to Palestine, except kill them all. That is Greg Locke's nuance for Palestine. He said it earlier. It's insane to me. Somebody yelled something. I don't know what it was. Maybe I'll amplify it later in edits and see if I can figure it out.
Somebody, I hope, get this message to Benjamin Netanyahu.
Like Bibi Netanyahu gives a shit what you think about him. I mean, the only reason he would care what Greg Locke thinks about him is because he wants to make sure that the right-wing propaganda machine is working in his favor in the United States. That's all.
That he ought to take.
I'm sorry, let me clarify. The reason I feel that way is because Benjamin Netanyahu, Bibi Netanyahu, is a right-wing extremist. He is the prime minister at this immediate moment of Israel. Probably won't be forever. And he's a right-wing extremist that runs a right-wing government. And it needs to go, the right-wing government. I want to see a more left-leaning government in Israel. I don't want to see Israel disappear completely. Matter of fact, I would prefer that a country that is more democratic leaning were in control in the Middle East. In an ideal world, I would like to see Israel in control of the entire area with Palestinians allowed to roam completely free and a 100% equal government. Equal rights for Palestinians, equal voting rights, equal rights to be in any government position, Supreme Court, whatever, anything. I want 100% equality for Palestinians in Israel. That's what I'd like to see. But I'm not ever going to see that in my entire lifetime. I would bet anything. That's deeply sad.
Somebody, I hope, get this message to Benjamin Netanyahu that he ought to take care of the rest of them yahoos. Now, I'm going to tell you what would fix it right now. By the way, it'd fix it, and it would help usher in what we're wanting so bad. Huh?
Oh, so he said, so the joke is Benjamin Netanyahu, and his last name ends in Yahoo, so he wants to get rid of the other Yahoos. Okay, I guess. Benjamin Netanyahu's childhood nickname is Bibi. That's why he's referred to as Bibi. This was given by his family. Many cousins in the extended family were named Benjamin after the grandfather. Interesting question is why it's used now. I think it's 2 reasons. I'm reading an answer from somebody. As Shmuel Aaron Kam wrote, I'm sorry, I don't know. I probably butchered that. We are an extremely informal country, and people call each other by nicknames all the time. However, I think this is a calculated move by Israeli politicians to make sure at least some of them has a nickname. They probably think it makes them look more down to earth, close to the people. And it probably does for many. Number 2, in the special case of Netanyahu, his opponents use it as a demeaning term, as a way to avoid calling him a respectable name or prime minister. They use the name Bibi exclusively and use variations for name calling. So a newspaper supporting Netanyahu is nicknamed Bibiton, combining Bibi and Aiton, newspaper in Hebrew. The actual name is Israel Today. Interesting. So there's a little short answer. What is his name, Bibi or Benjamin? His name is Benjamin. I'm going to call him Benjamin moving forward because that, I don't want to, partake in the propagandistic framing, so.
While they're mowing down the Gaza Strip and letting them terrorists know exactly what we do with terrorists, which is not compromise or negotiate.
Which is genocide. While they're mowing down the Gaza Strip. 2 million innocent civilians live there, Greg. What is going through your head? This is nuts.
What they ought to do is evacuate up there on the hill and get a great big missile and blow that wicked dome of the rock plumb off of the spot where it's standing right now so we can get that 3rd temple rebuilt and usher in the coming of Jesus.
Holy shit, dude. This is crazy. Oh my God. The belief is that once Israel rebuilds the temple, the 3rd temple period, the belief is that it's going to be like an age of prosperity or whatever. It's going to be the start of something big for Jews. Like, Jews believe that. Christians think it's going to be the start of the apocalypse. The first temple was built under King Solomon, allegedly, if Solomon was even real, maybe. That was around 1,000 years BC. So before Jesus came along, 1,000 years BC. That was the first temple. The first temple fell in 586 BCE, so about 500 years after it was built, give or take. It was a big, devastating thing for Jews in the area at the time when the temple fell. And the temple is like a symbol of their faith, basically. It's a sign that God approves of who they are and what they're doing and everything if the temple is still, around. So it's built in 1000 BCE, falls 586 BCE to the Babylonian Empire. Cyrus from Persia takes over the area, takes over the Babylonian Empire. It's rebuilt at that point. 515 BCE, so that's 515 years before Jesus came or whatever. It was refurbished by Herod in 36 CE, so 3 years after Jesus' alleged death. I'm saying alleged because we don't even know if Jesus was real, let alone that he was born in that specific time frame. 36 CE, temple is refurbished. Let me just make sure I got my dates correct. And then 70 CE, current era, like 70 years after Jesus was allegedly born, the second temple fell. That's the time frame that we're working with at this moment. The reason that they can't build the temple, the reason that they haven't yet, is because there's a mosque there, Al-Aqsa Mosque. Not only is there a mosque there, it is one of the leading holy sites in all of Israel, or all of the world in these people's minds. I guess it's in West Jerusalem, so technically it's in Palestine, I think, Al-Aqsa Mosque. So depending on who you ask, because some people don't acknowledge Palestine as a state, middle, they'd have to tear down a mosque. Soldiers cannot set foot in there, IDF. The point is, it's just like, if they built another temple there where Al-Aqsa Mosque is, it would absolutely, most definitely result in massive amounts of death, because it means tearing down Al-Aqsa Mosque. It would not be pretty.
What they ought to do is evacuate up there on the hill and get a great big missile and blow that wicked dome of the rock plumb off of the spot where it's standing right now, so we can get that third temple rebuilt and usher in the coming of Jesus.
I knew that this video from Greg Locke was going to be crazy, but truthfully, I wasn't expecting this level of crazy. I really wasn't.
Tear down that big demonic monstrosity that shouldn't even be there.
Talking about Al-Aqsa Mosque, one of the foremost holy sites in Islam.
Blow the whole thing to kingdom come. Rebuild that third temple and we'll zip up out of here in the glory land. Amen. Yeah.
So he believes that they need to tear down Al-Aqsa Mosque and rebuild the third temple, and then Jesus comes back. Oh my God, dude. This is about as disturbing as it gets, for real.
Yes, I said it. Yes, Twitter, enjoy yourself.
Okay, I gotta take this one down to 10607. Holy shit, bro. Hold on. Al-Aqsa Mosque was built in 705 CE. So Muhammad dies in the 630s, I think 632. A new caliphate, which is basically, it's like the Pope. The Caliph is the Pope of Islam. And the caliphate is his territory. So a new caliphate forms 4 years after Muhammad dies, I believe. Muhammad officially ran the first caliphate. And there are different groups of Muslims out there. There's Shia, there's Sunni, there's Ismaili, and others. And generally, the dividing line between various different Muslim groups, really it's between countries. But like Iran is Shia, Iraq, and Iraq is Sunni, or it was originally. Let's see, ISIS is Sunni, and ISIS kind of controls Iraq and Syria, mostly, kind of. That's where they're based, anyways. And they're at war with each other, like constantly. They fight each other. The reason that there are two different tribes, or there are 3 or 4 or 5 or however many there are, is based on who they believe should have succeeded Muhammad. Some believe it should have been his children. Some believe it should have been his first in command. I don't even remember what the difference is now between the various, like who these different groups believe should be leading Islam. But anyway, the point is, Muhammad dies. Somebody new creates a caliphate in the area, and that caliphate went on to build Al-Aqsa Mosque 70 or so years after Muhammad died, give or take, 60, 70 years. Al-Aqsa, again, it has existed there for like ever. Over 1,000 years, almost 1,500 years now. And Greg Locke wants to tear it down. If Al-Aqsa was torn down, it would end very badly. The Muslim world would unite against whoever tore it down. By the way, the Ottoman Empire. I don't know if you've heard that name. I don't know if you know who that is. The Ottoman Empire is a caliphate. Ottoman Caliphate. It was the Muslims that lived in that area, the Middle East, up into Turkey, other various parts, other various sections or whatever you want to call it. Wow, dude, I suck. So anyways, yeah, that's what the Ottoman Empire was. It was a caliphate.
They had to blow the whole thing up.
Blow up the Aqsa Mosque. Seriously, that will not end well.
Bring the whole thing down. Evacuate it out. Tell them, you got 48 hours to get out. We're going to blow it up.
Wow, give them 48 hours? That's nice of Greg. Jesus, dude. This is insane.
Let them all get out. And if they decide to go down with it, then they decide to go down with it. I'm done with it. I ain't
done with what? What are you dealing with, Greg? What has been your struggle? Tell me your struggle with Al-Aqsa Mosque existing. For real. This is f***ing psychotic. What is he talking about right now? This is disturbing as it gets. Jesus Christ. Greg has a real struggle, and he's done with it. No more allowing Muslims to live. He's just done with that whole thing. No more of it.
Playing these games. We'll step up security around here all we got. We get our own ballistic missile system. Praise God. We got our own Iron Dome. God the Father, God the Son, God the Holy Ghost.
Okay, well, it didn't work out well for the Byzantines. Let's see how it works out for you. By the way, the Byzantines were extremist Christians who took part in the Crusades. And they were the Eastern Roman Empire. After the Roman Empire fell, the eastern end of the Roman Empire continued to survive, and it was called the Byzantine Empire. Wow, dude, I suck.
God will protect us. We're standing with the nation of Israel. We're honoring the nation of Israel. We're standing with their army. We're standing with their leadership. We're standing with their people. That video of that woman that survived the Holocaust in a wheelchair, they snatched her up.
Okay, I didn't see that. I think that's probably propaganda. Yeah, Hamas has done some horrific stuff, and they shouldn't be doing any of that. Like, oh my God, dude, some of the shit that Hamas has done is really, really disgusting. I saw a video of a woman in a wheelchair. I don't think that she survived the Holocaust, but okay, go on.
Kidnapped a Holocaust survivor.
I don't think so, but okay, maybe. You know what? That's possible, I suppose. I just don't trust a word out of Greg's mouth without independently verifying it, okay? Not one word. Because he consumes propaganda 24/7, and you can never know. Like, even if he isn't intending to lie, he does anyways. I guess lie demands intention, but he doesn't really know what's going on. He has no clue.
Help me, Holy Ghost. She survived the worst atrocity.
Like Greg gives a shit about Jewish people. He doesn't. Never did. You know what he cares about? Destroying Al-Aqsa Mosque so that the Jews can build the third temple, and then watching as all of the other Jews die. They will all be killed once they build that third temple, and Jesus comes back and blah, blah, blah. Greg Locke doesn't want Jews to survive this. He wants only Christians to survive. And, pretending that he cares about Jews at all is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
That the Jewish people have ever experienced, only to be kidnapped by somebody with American dollars in their pocket.
No, Hamas was not funded by America. Once again, Fantasyland shit.
From a corrupt government that should have been smoked out months ago when they stole the election to begin with. Yes, I said it.
Like anybody gives a shit. You're just a ridiculous fool at this point. My God, dude. This is crazy. Holy shit.
There are consequences to thievery. There are consequences to evil.
And wait, what's the consequence to, in his mind, the election being stolen? It wasn't stolen. What's the consequence to that right now?
are consequences to stolen elections.
What?
There's
I mean, of course he's claiming Obama's in charge, controlling Joe Biden like a puppet. God, dude, this guy is crazy. Seriously. Oh, my God. I have to cover this, like, on my main channel. This is so entertaining to me. Like, his psychotic viewpoint on it. I mean, some of it's just horrific, but the way that he views the world is so fascinating. Like, his perception of the things around him is bizarre to me.
Consequences to it, and we're living out the consequences right now. So as far as I'm concerned, ain't none of that stuff political. All of it's demonic. It's all based on a principality.
That's a reference to a Bible verse. Principalities and powers, blah, 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 blah.
So I'm just trying to get you to understand. And I want these young people to understand, if you will serve Jesus, but you will honor the people that God honors, he will honor you in your life. God has honored our church. We have sown so much money through various groups and ministries and churches and organizations and missionaries and evangelists and pastors into the nation of Israel. No wonder God's blessed our church so much. And we're going to keep on doing it. My family has personally sown into the nation of Israel. God's blessed us because of it.
Well, his family's personally given money to Israel so that they can kill all of the Palestinians, destroy Al-Aqsa Mosque, and usher in an age where Christians control everything, where Jesus comes back and all of the Jews die. That's nuts, dude.
Even when we don't take offerings for the nation of Israel, every single month, on the 2nd of the month, our church automatically has without even thinking, without even sleeping on it, without even having to know that it's coming out. Every single month, even without taking any offerings whatsoever. The fellowship of Jewish people that are based out of Kentucky, that work with the military, work with Holocaust survivors, work with widows and orphans and people all throughout the Jerusalem area, every single month on the...
Okay, I'm actually in favor of that. You know, I'm sure that based on Greg Locke's beliefs, I'm sure that he would pick one that was tied to the far-right extremist government in power at the moment, rather than just picking one that looks out for orphans or whatever. But why would he be talking about this in the first place?
Second, $5,000, boom, automatically comes out of the Global Vision Bible Church account. And
Wow, imagine having $5,000 to just burn. Imagine having that much money to light up. That's crazy. You know, I've never actually held that much money in my hand at once before. $5,000, and it all goes, I'm assuming, to the right-wing Israeli government. I don't know where it goes. That's nuts, man.
Work with Holocaust survivors, work with widows and orphans and people all throughout the Jerusalem area. Every single month on the 2nd, $5,000, boom, automatically comes out of the Global Vision Bible Church account and goes straight to Israel. It's the 1st of the month. We tithe to God's people literally every single month.
I thought he was God's people.
In this church. So I know that's a lot of supercharged stuff, but I mean they're literally having their throats cut right now as we worship.
No, I don't think they were. I'm not sure exactly when this released, like what time, but I believe Israel regained control of the situation pretty quickly, like really quickly. It was only a matter of maybe a day or two, I think, before things turned around and they got things together again.
They're everywhere. They're going to win. Israel's going to win.
They're everywhere.
Hamas is going to be stamped out. And they're going to go slither into some caves like cockroaches.
This language right here is the exact language used in the lead up to the Rwandan genocide. Exactly what they said. They called members of the Tutsi tribe cockroaches this exact same way. This is as disturbing as it gets, dude, for real.
And they're going to find them, and they're going to blow the caves up and kill the cockroaches. And it doesn't.
He has a completely warped idea of what Palestine looks like. Palestine is not a bunch of caves. It's not a cave system. They don't live in caves. They live in, like, normal houses in Palestine. I understand he's talking about Hamas specifically. I don't know where Hamas lives. They probably live in cells or something among the citizenry. I have no clue.
Doesn't bother me to say that.
Sorry, step back.
Hamas is going to be stamped out. And they're going to go slither into some caves like cockroaches. And they're going to find them. And they're going to blow the caves up and kill the cockroaches. And it doesn't bother me to say that.
There's something wrong with you then. If it doesn't bother you to say that, there's something wrong. Seriously. What is happening right now?
There is only one response to that level of terrorism. And it's not sweetness. Don't think that the gospel's not been shared. The love of God's not been propagated. Stop all this. Stop all this.
I don't know what he's talking about. Gospel's been propagated, what?
Islam hates Christianity.
I guess it kind of depends. I guess it kind of depends on like what denomination you're talking about, or what group. Ismaili Muslims, Sunni, Shia, and there's a lot of political stuff to consider in the process. Like, how has the political system changed in a way that upsets this group of Muslims? Iran is largely Shia Muslim, which is in opposition to Sunni Muslim, or Sunni Islam, I guess. But they are also in opposition to the United States. Iran is. So it really depends on like the political situation in any given spot.
Hates Israel. And now the people that we gave money to weeks and weeks ago are standing on parliament floors, like as of yesterday, shouting, "Death to America, death to America, death to America." Now listen, let me tell you something.
Well, I'm about to die, aren't I? I'm going to die.
All you parents that have your kids in these liberalized, drag queen reading public schools.
I'm sorry? Say again? Drag queen reading schools? Oh, dude, I got to write this down too. 11051.
No wonder your children are coming out indoctrinated against Christianity and sympathetic towards Islam.
What? I'm sorry. What the hell are you saying? He thinks that public schools are teaching children to be sympathetic toward Islam? This is insane, dude.
No wonder. Get them out of that mess.
What, I guess he's saying homeschool your kids?
Get them out of that mess. There are more terror cells in this nation than probably any nation on the planet.
Wait, which nation? You talking about Israel? No, I don't believe that's true for a single second. Is he talking about the U.S.? Again, no. By no stretch of the imagination. Are there more terror cells in the U.S. or Israel than any other country? You think that the U.S. has more terror cells than, I don't know, Iran? What? Or Afghanistan? Are you kidding me? Hell, even Egypt?
And everybody wants to give us a bum rap for exposing that. It's not a conspiracy theory.
Yes, it is.
When it comes to your town, you'll change your tune.
Okay. Yeah, he was talking about the United States. He says there are more terror cells in the United States than any other country. Dude, I'm just getting thing after thing to write down here. This is crazy.
Comes to our town, we'll change our tune. They're just
okay. He lives in the middle of nowhere.
looking for an opportunity, and now they found it.
They're looking for an opportunity. Who's they? Is he talking about the Muslim world looking for an opportunity to create a terror cell where he lives? Is that it?
Now they found it. So that's a long way around the barn. But I can promise you, as long as I've got this microphone in my hand, this church is going to hold hands with the nation of Israel. And because when I say stuff like this, we get letters in the mail and we get like phone calls. And look, save your letter, save your stamp, save your phone call, save your text message, save your Instagram, save all of it.
This is a really polarizing issue. There are people on both sides that hate the people on the other side. Not to say that this is a two-sided situation or whatever. I'm not saying that at all. I don't believe that. There's a lot of nuance here that Greg Locke is just completely ignoring, of course. But you know, there are strong feelings on both sides, one way or another.
If you're going to try to tell me about these fake Jews that are the synagogue of Satan, and this is not really the nation of Israel, save your breath.
Oh, yeah. What he's referring to right now is it's a belief about Jews, about like Israel, that is a necessary component to believing that Donald Trump is the Messiah. So he's probably getting messages from like Trumpist religious believers that are upset with what he's saying. Fascinating.
Because I'm not hearing it.
Oh, yeah. There's already a terror cell in his town, right?
I'm not paying you any credence whatsoever. We're not having coffee about it. You can mail me 1,000 books, and on October 31st, I'll put them in the witchcraft pile when we burn the rest of that occult nonsense.
Yeah, he likes to do book burnings a lot. He's referring to book burnings. That's insane, dude. I have like a billion examples of him holding burnings. Here's a burning that he participated in. I don't know. This is February 2nd, 2022, when this took place. 16,000 people saw it on the thing here on Facebook.
Don't breathe that mess back into you, all right?
Don't breathe it back in because there's satanic stuff in there.
Let that stuff burn, let it go. But we're going to start this up. We got all kind of Masonic stuff. We got devilish stuff. We got every bit of kind of witchcraft, spell books, everything you can imagine. And this thing is full. So we got clothes, a lot of things. So if you need to get rid of it, as most as you can get, just start throwing it in there. 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 Burn it. Burn it. Burn it.
It's a shofar, also known as a ram's horn. It's traditionally a Jewish instrument that they're blowing into there. There's also this video.
Pastor Greg Locke here. So last week, the Freedom from Religion Foundation ran an ad during the Democratic debate that sparked a lot of controversy. I said something about it, and of course, they shot back, as well as one of their head attorneys, a man by the name of Andrew Seidel.
And yeah, he's pretty cool. I know him.
He wrote a book called The Founding Myth: Why Christian Nationalism is Un-American. He smarted off in the tweet and said, maybe I'll send you a copy. I told him go right ahead. Well, certainly he did. A couple of things before I talk about the
Yeah, I'm not even going to bother. But just skip to the end here. He lights it on fire.
On bad ideas.
Oh, God. I have to mute it because I forgot there's the song. I think he's playing AC/DC. I love AC/DC. I just forget what that song's name was. I was trying to remember. Anyways, it's on Back in Black, the album. Or it's on the, the album is Back in Black.
Everybody hearing me? So we're going to pray. I don't even know where to go from here. I never wore one of these in public.
Yeah, he's literally wearing a Jewish, what do you call it? It's not a scarf. It's a special Jewish piece of religious wear, right? Don't Jews usually wear this during their services or whatever? I could be wrong.
I use it. I pray in it sometimes. Get a lot of Ross.
Why would you pray in that? You're Christian.
Gave me. I got about 3 or 4 of them. That shofar that Jalen was blowing a moment ago. That came straight from Israel. That's actually a wartime shofar. I figured we'd blow that since we had wartime.
That's psychotic, dude. That is psychotic.
So yeah, look at there, all the way from Israel, right there. I'd like to tell you what it says, but I don't read Hebrew. I read hillbilly. I think it says the battle belongs to the Lord, which it does. Amen.
Okay.
So we're just gonna pray. I'm just gonna intercede on their behalf for a few moments. I want you to intercede out loud as we intercede here on the platform. Yeah, we're taking a little longer in the service today, but I think it's important.
Anyway, that's crazy, dude. That is absolutely insane. He starts doing a prayer. I covered that in part 2, so if you want to see the rest, then check that out. This whole thing is nuts, dude. And there's honestly so much propaganda spreading around here. We got to cool down on the propaganda. Seriously, it's crazy how much propaganda we're dealing with right now. This just blows me away, man.